Hello everyone, this is my daily vlog, episode 37, and today I want to talk about a word that's very important to Hindus. All Hindus, really. Well, there's not one thing that's important to all Hindus because there's so many different kinds, so many different beliefs in Hinduism, but it's very important to most Hindus. And that word basically is Om. It looks like 30. It looks like the number 30 in a numerical system. But really, it's universal vibration. Om is usually pronounced AUM, like Om, and it's drawn out. It starts very many mantras in Hinduism and a lot of mantras in different Buddhist sects. But it is described as the foundation of reality, the universal vibration that is basically the bedrock of creation, and that's why it's at the beginning of most mantras in Hinduism, because it basically attunes you to creation and lets you speak in a way that is powerful based on your attunement with the Om word. I'm calling it a word, but really it's like its own mantra. It's a universal symbol, and it's a universal vibration. So it's a very complicated idea. It's a very complicated word, and it's interesting because something that I've always thought that was unique about Om is that it's basically in English, it's basically the three letters in the English alphabet that you say when you're saying Om. A, O, M. A, O, and M. Granted, they're shifted in different directions than you would usually spell them, but I always thought that very interesting because it's more ancient than English, but it seems to be composed of three English letters. And I think that this is kind of a joke by God. Like, God's like, look at this. It's obvious that these two cultures kind of developed differently, or these two different vibrations and understandings of the meaning of reality and its source. But here's three English letters that won't be invented for a long time, but that's what it's going to look like. And really, even in Sanskrit, the Om symbol, it looks different than any other Sanskrit letter. It's always placed in Sanskrit, but it's not. It doesn't have the linear abbreviations above the letters in Sanskrit as basically all of Sanskrit. It doesn't have the straight lines. It's basically a very rounded image, and I've always found that interesting. But when I say when I put that before something, when I reverberate that in my throat, it always feels like I'm uplifted, like it's actually bringing me above the level that I was at, whatever level that was on. It's a very powerful thing to add to any mantra, and it feels like you're vibrating at a higher frequency if you say it enough, especially when accompanying the mantras that it's usually accompanied with. I mean, well, all the mantras. So when it's accompanying specific mantras that I've said that it's accompanied with, it really elevates the entire mantra. It's kind of like the beginning word and the ending word, because it's basically between the mantra and its repetition afterwards, and the one before it. So it's kind of the meeting point, making the mantras a continuous loop, and that loop kind of develops into a spiral as you start to feel whatever the mantra is meant to do. You start to feel it really reverberating throughout your body and throughout your understanding, and it kind of slings your consciousness upward, slings it up so that you are on the level and in the vibration that you want to be at through a mantra. Om is that building block, that foundation, which really does that for you. I would highly recommend anyone watching this to look up the different mantras in Hinduism. There's a lot, and there's basically a mantra for everything. But you'll see that Om is always in the mantras. Now, there's some mantras that it's not in, but I can say almost always that it's in the mantras. And you'll see how often it's said in a mantra, if it's always at the beginning or the end. And you'll see that the different combinations of Om will basically bring out a mantra. It'll make its nature apparent. And now, one mantra that I usually say Om with, well, I always say Om with, is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om. And that basically means I bow to the Lord who lives in the hearts of all. And having Om on either side of that is basically grounding oneself in creation, and being able to recognize that which transcends creation, because you're basically creating a beacon. You're founding yourself in creation, but creating a beacon upwards with Om. And that's usually how I think about it. But hey, if you liked any of this, please give me that thumbs up down there. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And I'm always willing to do videos that people recommend. I've barely touched on everything that I really know or think I know. And I'm about 150 something videos in on my YouTube channel. But hey, I take suggestions, and I'm willing to talk about a wide variety of things. So practice saying Om, and look it up, see the different mantras, and what mantras you connect with the most. And I hope you develop. I hope you move on from the state that you're in, and always progress from that state, whatever and whenever it might be. Thank you very much for watching.